finding the perimeter of a square or a rectangle. So for these problems, you're finding the perimeter of either it's going to be a square or it's going to be a rectangle, and they work very similarly. The most important thing you know is the formula for the perimeter of a rectangle. The perimeter of a square is slightly different, and we'll talk about that in the next problem. But the perimeter of a rectangle is going to be 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. It doesn't matter which one you call the length and which one you call the width when it comes to this rectangle over here. You can do whatever your heart desires. So I'm going to call this guy the width. So we'll say the width is equal to 29. That means that this guy over here will be my length, and my length will be equal to 15. So I'm going to use the formula P is equal to 2L plus 2W, and I'm just going to plug in length and width to it. So I'm plugging in W here, and I'm plugging in L here. So P is equal to 2 times, we said the length is 15, plus 2 times, and then the width was 29. So the perimeter is going to be equal to 30 plus 58. The perimeter is going to be equal to 88. Now, this problem is going to ask for units. Your units are going to be whatever the units were on the original rectangle. So they were meters. My units will be meters. And that's it. Your perimeter is 88 meters. That's the answer. So let's look at finding the perimeter of a square. This is a square. Pretend it's a square. I understand I'm not an artist here. That's not what I went to school for. So pretend this is a square and that we know one side length. The interesting thing about squares, maybe the fun or exciting thing about squares, is that they have side lengths that are all the same. So while technically you could treat this like a rectangle, you could go ahead and say, well, if one side is 15, that means this side has to be 15. You could do this, and you could use the perimeter formula for a rectangle. Why don't I go ahead and do that first, and then I'll show you a faster way. So I will go ahead and call the length 15, and I'm going to use this guy and call him the width is 15. The perimeter formula for a rectangle is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. So the perimeter would be equal to 2 times 15 plus 2 times 15. The perimeter would be 30 plus 30, which is 60, and then the units are going to be inches. It totally works, it's fine. However, if you're dealing with a square and you want a little bit of a trick, the perimeter of a square is technically just 4 times whatever the side length is. So I'll just make a note, x is equal to side length, because all the sides are the same. So if I wanted to try that out, x here would be 15 inches, because that was the side length we were given. The perimeter would be equal to 4 times 15, which is 60. So you'd get the same answer. So whatever formula you use, it's not going to matter. You will come up with the same answer. Just if you're going to use the rectangle formula, understand that if your width is 15, your length is 15. And that's all there is to it.